quick video response on the whole debate between the race deniers and the race realists on YouTube, started by the user HeyRuka about a week ago. I've been very busy, so I've not been able to make a response. I'll say right off the bat, very disappointing in terms of what the vast majority of users on YouTube hold to on this issue. I'd like to respond to DLandonCole in the first instance, because you're asking HeyRuka for a definition of race. It seemed like an innocent question, but I've looked at some of your comments. Clearly you're running on a political agenda, so it's a loaded question. Whatever definition of race someone gives, you're going to quibble it, and if no one can give a clear-cut definition, you're going to say, nah, no clear-cut definition, therefore race doesn't exist. But that's bad logic. Yeah, race is a part of taxonomy. Taxonomy is a human-imposed categorization on nature. So, to some extent, it's arbitrary. Yeah, nature doesn't have clear-cut edges. So we could go around in circles arguing about how much difference constitutes a race. We could argue that one all day. That doesn't change the fact that geographically separated humans have accumulated different genetic code in their collective gene pools. And that code expresses itself in phenotypic differences. They look different, for starters. Yeah. That is what people mean when they use the term race. Yeah, that's the concept, and that's real. Bickering over taxonomy definitions isn't going to change that reality. Just generally, it's messed up logic to take something that spans a continuum, impose a binary categorization on it, then tear apart the categorization, and then somehow from that conclude that the underlying continuum doesn't exist. Yeah. So, plants and animals, different, right? Clearly. But in some cases, it's hard to decide into which bucket something falls. Yeah, but that doesn't change the reality that there's a difference. Another analogy might be the distinction between a child and an adult. So at which point does a child become an adult? We could argue that all day, right? One person would say at this age, another person might choose a slightly older age. Does that mean there's no such thing as children and adults? Of course not. So dumb. We can argue about how much genetic distance there needs to be for a race, but you can't argue that there are no genetic differences, yeah, with different resulting physical characteristics and whatnot. So you're just quibbling the categorization. The underlying concept of race is just fine. You know, if you can't handle the label because it's too hot politically, by all means pick a different word, you know, if that makes you feel better. Some of the people making videos on this issue and commenters, you're retards. Total retards. If you're an atheist, you're probably signed up to evolution, right? Do you understand how it works? Or do you think humans are exempt? Because the way some of you are talking, it really sounds like that. Well, newsflash, the rules apply to humans too, okay? The rules apply to you too. Yeah? One guy was saying, I can't remember which video or what user, but he was like, oh yeah, characteristics like height and skin colour, they could be different, but we all think the same. We all think the same. That's what he said. Really? You're an atheist, so you're almost certainly a materialist. You don't believe in spirits and souls and stuff like that, yeah? Newsflash. Your mind is your brain. And are we going to make an exception for brains? Brains are special. Skin, eyes, they evolve, but brains, they aren't subject to the rules, they're exempt. Utter bullshit. If you're going to take on a philosophy, be consistent. Yeah, own it, take all of it, not just the bits you like. Okay, here it is. Genes express themselves in the extant organism. They're responsible for every aspect of the physical organism. Over time there are mutations in genes, resulting in organisms with slightly different physical characteristics. Organisms best adapted to their environment reproduce. Ones that are maladapted do not. Therefore, populations separated geographically will over time accumulate different genetic mutations as selected for by the specific environment. That's why people groups from around the world are different. They look different physically, and their brains will also be different. If you don't believe this, stop believing in natural selection and stop believing in evolution, yeah? Because this is what it is. The majority of you are brainwashed clowns, totally incapable of free thought. You know, you hold one set of beliefs in certain circumstances, then when it doesn't suit you, when it's not expedient, you wheel out another set of beliefs. Yeah? Be consistent.